Sup, it's me again. If you didn't see the first video I made in confidence, here's the link. But now, let's talk about what I like to call the not good enough syndrome. It's a thing some people have too much of and some too fucking little. It's basically the annoying voice in your head that keeps on saying, hey, you see how much better that stuff is compared to yours? Go back and do better. It's not a necessarily bad thing in of itself, but sometimes it pushes you into this continuous cycle of thinking that whatever you make is worse when compared to what others do. So you scrap whatever you made and try to do it again, but better. So far so good? Not in this case, because the same story repeats again and again and you end up never publishing anything. What made me want to do this video is a post I've seen on Reddit saying, back when I started writing, I was mad cocky and thought I was the next best thing since sliced bread. Now 3 or so years later, I have confidence in my writing ability, but I can't help but think, damn, what if I'm not as good as I think I am? It's like I expect myself to write the most lyrical verse in hip-hop history every single time I sit down and write. What can I do to stop this? I really want to start putting together some full songs. Do I just power through it and go for quantity over quality? Before I answer, let me present to you the concept of perfectionist paralysis. According to a totally legit source, it's the inability to start on a project, assignment, essay, or any creative task due to the fear of not getting it perfectly right. It's a bit different from the case of the Redditor, that guy from Reddit, since he previously started songs but he wasn't able to finish them. However, both cases do share similarities. The first one being the fear of imperfections. The second one is that expectations are too damn high, and the third and final one, as a result of the first two, being afraid of negative criticism. Now, allow me to shamelessly plug my other video on the third problem, being afraid of showing your works, where I went over it in more detail. But returning to our case of the Redditor, let's examine his message. Starting with, I thought I was the next best thing since sliced bread. First off, I hate that expression. Whoever listened to George Carlin knows exactly what is my take on it. But enough of that. See, being cocky as the new guy on the block is fine. You don't know much yet, and what you do know, you think you excel at it. We've all been there. Hell, before I actually recorded myself for the first time, I thought my rapping abilities were already top notch. As already stated, I was a dumb kid. But the point is, the further you go as you pursue what you like, the more you understand how little you actually know. And the strangest thing about the whole roller coaster of creativity is that you never know whether your self-esteem will go up or down the next day, hour, or even minute. I can assure you that even the most skillful of artists out there sometimes just sit and think that whatever they're writing is liquid shit. On the other side of the medal, people who know next to nothing feel like top of the line. Unfair? You bet. But it kinda plays in your favor. By telling yourself that this line over here is bad, you push yourself to do better. Most of the times it's the gut feeling we're talking about. You can feel that this line over here doesn't fit, it troubles you. And that's the beauty of writing. Trying to please your OCD by creating new pieces to the puzzle and throwing out the bad ones. If you don't seem satisfied with something, it means you're actually willing to move forward. You just have to learn to use that inertia that drags you down to get back on top. Don't be paranoid because you're afraid of showing people a bad song of yours. It's feedback. You need that shit to know what works and what doesn't. You may be the worst rapper on the planet, but if people point you in the right direction, you will get there. You will get where you're going even at the snail's pace. Writing a verse and then scraping a whole project is something I also did. In fact, on my computer I have at least 20 such songs from like 2012 that I just never bothered to finish. I decided, whatever, I'll write something else then. And I've been a writer, well, kinda since childhood, before I even went to elementary school. And I know what I'm talking about when I say that you will grow to love the feeling of I can't complete anything, because it means you know there's still a lot of work to do. It's a sign of a good artist, always trying to top whatever you previously did. You just have to word correctly what you want to say. Read, watch movies, whatever. Each word you hear, each sentence may turn the engine back on, resulting in a godlike feeling of, holy shit, I think I got it. If you don't care about the song anymore though, the best thing for you to do would be releasing just that verse you've already written. It's better than nothing. Feedback, people. Feedback. And another thing I want to discuss is whenever you sit down and write, it's wrong to want to write the most lyrical verse in hip-hop history. Why? Because lyrical is a vague term and should not be considered as a criteria. Narrow the field. Do you want to concentrate at the moment on storytelling, crazy rhyme schemes, metaphors, and wordplay, whatever. By concentrating on something precise, you have better chances to write what you like because the song isn't abstract anymore. And write what reflects your personality as an artist. Let me explain it. If I ask you, what's the most lyrical verse in hip-hop ever? What would your answer be? And now compare that answer with the answer somebody else gave. Different? Yep. Different artists? Maybe. You know what they have in common though? They know how to channel their personality into the songs they're making. That's what matters. No one gives a shit how many syllables you can rhyme or about your Pamela Anderson sex tape punchline if it feels mechanical. And specifically for people who preach that every line should be a clever punchline, I want to say, you're kinda right and kinda wrong. What we see for the most part on the internet is people that gather all the punchlines they wrote over the course of the last month and are just throwing them randomly at the wall, hoping something will stick. That fucking pisses me off because the song is going nowhere. What's the point you want to make with that song? I don't think even you know the answer. By using punchlines too much without care, you just take the flavor out of the goddamn song. Just listen to Dance with the Devil by Immortal Technique if you didn't already. Is it a great song? Yes. Now, is it overly saturated with punchlines and wordplay? I rest my case. Get your shit together, rap community. Now let's finally answer the questions. What can I do to stop this? Do I just power through it and go for quantity over quality? I already responded to that post, but I will go over it in more detail now. First things first, never. Never go for quantity over quality. Ever. That's a fucking recipe for disaster. You won't be satisfied with your music and it will show. By trying to produce more than you can actually handle, the creativity will fuck off in order to increase efficiency. As I previously stated, don't finish a verse just for the sake of finishing a verse. There's already too much shit floating around. At the same time though, there is no need to blow the grains of sand off of the song either. Sometimes you just have to say, that's enough, and release what you have, because if you don't, you'll just keep rewriting and remixing over and over, and in the end, you're never going to finish the damn song. I'll give the same advice here that I gave the guy who wrote the post. I know it works because it worked for me. Find or produce yourself a couple of beats. Let's say 6 or 7. They don't have to be Kanye level beats, anything basic will be just fine. Then find a topic. Again, anything basic and ordinary goes a long way. Let's say you woke up and have to go to school. Explore and exploit the idea. For example, you sit with your whole family to eat the breakfast before actually going to school. Now, what are they thinking? Maybe your sister is thinking about a guy she likes. Write about that. Or maybe it's not a guy, it's a girl. Write about that. Write about how she's not really comfortable with telling anyone about it. Write about her fear of being judged. Pull and stretch your imagination to make songs about these things, about every family member at that table. This way, there's no abstract concepts anymore like, I wanna do a song about this but I don't know what to say. You already have a start, you're making a fucking story about your family members, you know those people for Christ's sake. When I wanted to make my first concept album, people were like, are you nuts? You'll never make it! So I did, and I don't really understand the reactions. It's amazing, especially for someone who leaves things halfway done like I did. Come on dude, you already have half of the song done before even starting the verses. Get the fuck off the couch. That's a fucking bulletproof vest you're missing on. Go, do it, and then you'll see that you're even better at writing than you ever hoped for. You don't have the pressure of putting everything into one song anymore. You can spread your creativity however the fuck you like it. Twist it, bend it, cut it, shape it, finish and release it. Collect the feedback and move forward. That's it. And subscribe. I'll see you next Friday. Snail out.